Welcome to Industry Insights with Route Consultant, your front row seat to the fast-moving world of logistics and beyond. Each week, we bring you game-changing insights, real-world strategies, and fresh perspectives to fuel smarter investments and build stronger businesses. Join us as we sit down with expert guests to explore emerging trends and pressing topics across a wide range of industries. This is Industry Insights. Today we have Chad Johnson, Vice President of Franchise Services at Flowers, back again. And Chad, I know in a previous episode we really talked about the 30 years, your previous 30 years, with how you've seen kind of Flowers get to where it is today. But I want to talk more about really the current context affecting the bread industry today and what you all are seeing. So how have you seen some of these trends affecting what, independent distributors are doing today and how they have to think about ordering?
Yeah, that's one of the areas that my department has to excel in. Is sometimes it's delivering the knowledge or the information to the IDPs to know what's going on in the market. So one of the things that we will do is we'll take regional information to say and share that with our independent distributors to say, hey, here's where some big market wins are going on in your area. So in case they maybe they're just missing that and they can see that information and pivot and put the right products in their markets to become more profitable.
Yeah, and that's huge, because if you're an independent distributor and an entrepreneur, maybe you figured out how to do the operations, but there's no chance that you're doing, in-depth market research on all of the brands that Flowers has. So to be able to lean on your team and the things that you guys can do, I think is a huge advantage for those distributors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, some of it comes from the retailer as well, because when the product is sold into the retailers to say, hey, here's a new product that Flowers has, they're also going to do their due diligence to make sure that it's something they want and allocate their modular space to, because the space in their stores obviously equals to dollars at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's one of those tough things, is figuring out the right allocation in a store, and based on what the store is asking for, but also based on applying your knowledge from Flowers, but also your knowledge as an entrepreneur of the context of your neighborhood, and thinking about what are the little variances in West Nashville that might be different than what the overall averages for the country are, and that's the nuance that makes you successful.
Right. You got to have the right product for the right consumer
at the right time. Yeah,
absolutely.
So zooming out a little bit at a 10,000-foot view, let's say I'm coming to you today as a person who's wanting to get into the independent distributor model. Why would you say it's a good investment?
It's, you think about it.
Yeah.
What do you think about when you think about the staples of a grocery shopping list? Bread, milk, and eggs, right? I mean, I, as someone that works for Flowers, I concentrate a lot when I'm in the store. I'm looking what's in those shopping carts every time. Definitely looking to make sure there's Flowers products in there. I've caught myself at times being at the bread shelf and doing some hand selling with consumers to say, hey, have you thought about trying this? And they don't know where I work. I present myself more
if they're in Thomasville, they might have a little bit of a guess.
This is true. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just people are always going to need bread. People love bread, and it's something that's not going to go away.
Yeah, and I think when you're trying to decide where to invest your money and where to invest your time and energy, the more stable, recession-proof an environment can be, the better off you'll be, because you can weather the things that might affect another industry. So if you're investing, any small business entrepreneurship is inevitably a risky endeavor. There's some risk always when you're kind of going out on your own, but if you can invest in something where that people at least are going to buy bread.
People need food at the end of the day.
Yeah, so it's one of those where you've got that stability and that certainty. How would you think about or compare this to other franchise or distributor models you've seen or thought through?
Flowers is is my knowledge base.
Yeah.
I've seen some other models out there. I mean, obviously there's, restaurant opportunities and, you see you see those come, you see them go. I mean, there's the powerhouses that stay out there, your staples that you think about when you come to, restaurant franchising, but there's a lot that are failures.
Yeah.
And Flowers has been around 100 years. They know how to bake. We're great at baking product and getting it to the market, and we've developed a solid program with our independent distributors to give them the products and the brands that they need to succeed in the marketplace.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's the idea of a product that's not going anywhere. People need bread, but also backing it with, you're not just selling, sourdough that you bake in your kitchen. This is a brand that's been around for 100 years with some of the biggest, sub brands like Dave's Killer Bread attached to it, that you get to inherit all of that brand equity and all of the market research that keeps those brands relevant and impactful in today's market, while still going around, and you've got your business that you get to optimize and find ways to be more successful, to grow your territory, to grow your stores. And I think that's a really attractive model for a lot of people.
Yeah, and you mentioned the brands. There's such a diverse group that we have. You talk about, we've got Wonder Bread.
Which is one I forget about too, yeah.
Right, Wonder Bread. I mean, when you're thinking about bread, Wonder Bread is the Kleenex of the bread aisle. I mean, it's just such a known brand. And you've got Nature's Own, which we developed in 1978. And you think back, 1978, I mean, the bread aisle was just, it was white bread. That was it. There wasn't many options. There was maybe 4 or 5 different options. And there wasn't a strong health conscious consumer yet. It was emerging. So Flowers, even back in 1978, was saying, what do we need to do to really start thinking about making sure that we're going to stay relevant? And we came up with Nature's Own, which, no artificial colors, preservatives, or flavors, and just trying to keep a simple ingredient panel, which we're still trying to do, and constantly reviewing that to stay on par with the consumer trends. And then you have other, think about Canyon Bakehouse, which is our gluten-free bread. Because that's something to me that's emerged in the last 10 to 15 years, where you have a lot of consumers that are saying, hey, I can't have gluten in my diet, but I really want bread. And, because people love bread. And that's one of those brands that it's very rewarding to hear the feedback from consumers when they're telling you, I had given up on bread. Thought I was never going to be able to have it again because I didn't like gluten-free bread. It didn't taste good. And then I tried Canyon Bakehouse, and it was just like, thank you, giving you the heart emojis and things like that, and just saying, thank you so much for making this great bread. And it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, because that has to be one of the hardest things to balance of, hey, the consumer wants 4 ingredients. They want it gluten-free. But also, how do we make it taste good? That has to be one of the hardest things. I'm sure there's all kinds of ways that you can bake bread to check off all the boxes, but making it taste good is ultimately one of the biggest. And if you can't check that, nobody's buying it. So, yeah, I'm sure that's Innovation Lab's all-day struggle is, I know what they want. I can check all these boxes, but nobody's going to eat it because it tastes like rocks,
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it can't just be checking the boxes. It's got to taste good too. And then just moving down the list of brands, you've got Tasty Cake, which is, originated in Philadelphia, just an iconic brand from that area. And Flowers was lucky enough to acquire that brand and then take it nationwide and deliver those great tasting staples to all consumers across the nation. And it was interesting to hear the feedback we got from consumers that had moved away from the Philadelphia area and was just like, oh, thank you so much for bringing my Tasty Cake to California or Texas. And then the people that try the brand, they're saying, oh my gosh, this is great. We love these cakes. So it's just another powerhouse brand that our independent distributors have access to.
What would you say is it that really makes people successful in today's context?
You know, Josh, obviously you have to be someone that's customer oriented, making sure that you're taking care of your customers, developing relationships with them, and that's part of it. You have to be a good a good business owner as far as running a good business day in and day out, making sure that you're getting to the product, to the market on time, so you're there to capture the sales. You're going back later in the day to make sure that your shelves are neat and stocked and ready for whatever shopping cycle is happening in your market. You may have the early morning sales, mid-afternoon, late evening, whatever it is. You've got to be able to be there, make sure that your market is ready. That's going to make you successful, but you also have to be a conscientious business owner and manage whether it's one truck or 10, making sure that you're keeping up with your maintenance, making sure that you are constantly checking your P&L, where your profit and losses, where's your money going, and making sure that you're getting the most of it that you can to the bank to build that wealth.
Yeah. Is this a business where, it's 20 years before you make any money? Like what are we talking about in terms of, like, are these people out that are actually doing well for themselves?
That is a very interesting question with a great answer. This is one thing that I think that really separates the Flowers independent distributor program from other programs, and that there's some programs you're upside down for a while before you ever start making money. With this program, you're going, if you're doing all the right things, you should be making profit day one.
That's a good value proposition. I'll take that. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is really encouraging to hear. This isn't something where, hey, you're buying debt for 20 years and maybe it'll be worth something later. This is something where you can be doing well, you can generate wealth, and there's lots of ways to continue to grow as well and to continue to build this as a business for yourself and partner with Flowers in it.
Absolutely. Because, when you come in and you purchase a territory, you're purchasing a geographical territory. Okay. Yep. So you already have predefined stops, customers in that territory. So that's all within your purview when you're ready to go out and hit the market day one. So you have those guaranteed sales, and within those customers that you have that are already buying product, you have opportunity there. Okay, that's the first opportunity, because you can develop the relationships, get the extra displays, sell in different products, so you're making more money. But you think about it, day one, you're not servicing every customer in that territory. Yeah. So that's where you've got your nonstops, and you can call on them and start servicing them and continue grow your business more.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of opportunities there. And I think that is, for the right mindset, the right entrepreneur, that's a really attractive mindset of knowing I have a kind of not guaranteed, but a really nice foundation that I come in on the stops that are already a part of my territory. And as hard as I work, the more that I am willing to kind of invest time and energy to make this really work well, there's more opportunity both in the existing stops and in the others in my territory. And I can continue to build this based on the effort that I put in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was a great word that you use, a foundation. You're going to come in with a foundation of customers. Yeah. It's not like you're getting a geographic territory and you've got to go out and find customers to sell this product to.
You don't have to go break into Walmart. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the best things about kind of getting this off of the ground, but not having to start at zero. Yeah. So just kind of a side question that I think is interesting. You mentioned side selling in grocery stores. How much has working at Flowers and being more intimately familiar with the way grocery stores work changed the way that you shop and how you see every display in a store?
Oh yeah, I become uber critical of when I'm in the grocery store, and I look at the competitor's product. Where is the competitor putting their product in the store? Do they have better space and position than Flowers? And you know, I can tell you if I'm walking around the store and I see one of our products, you know, inevitably some consumers, they're going to pick up one of our products and just decide somewhere along the line, maybe they're over in the soft drink section that they just didn't want it, or maybe they picked up one too many. I'm going to make sure that that loaf gets back to where it goes.
Yeah.
And, you know, or if I'm walking by the bread aisle and maybe we've had a run, maybe there's been a lot of consumers in there and the shelf's kind of tossed. I'm going to pull it up and neaten it up while I'm in there for sure.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Do you go in and straighten it and shuffle the stale and you're like, I can't help myself?
Oh, I can't. It's a point of pride.
Yeah, I think that's evident just in it matches kind of the work ethic I've heard from you, and I think the respect that both what you have for the Flowers brand and I think to a certain extent it reflects the respect that Flowers has for IDPs as well, and that it is all one group effort to make sure that Flowers is successful. And, you know, whether it's in the independent markets where a contractor is selling and directly arranging in their stores, or it's the way that you build and support the sales team, the IDP team, and all of the communications between.
We have to always be working on that relationship with them and that partnership. And it's about respect because, you know, we have to perform together to win.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that is a perfect place to stop. That's, you know, kind of where Flowers is today, the challenges and the ways that both you and independent distributors are weathering it and finding ways to be successful and make sure that Flowers is still going to be here for the next 100 years, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right. Well, Chad, it was a pleasure having you here again. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.